baby, and welcome to today's edition of Welcome to My Basement, where on today's edition of the program, we will be talking about the National Hockey League. Yes, indeed, big announcement from the league. On Tuesday, they announced a big return to play plan. It's still a ways off a little bit before the puck actually drops on this thing, but you know what? Something to look forward to. I've been working on this playoff beard for about 10 weeks now. I'm sure many of you can relate. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the fresh set of odds. Yes, the Stanley Cup futures have been updated. Then we're going to discuss my feelings on this format. Then a couple of sleepers, a couple of underdogs, a couple of long shots that I think could make some noise and potentially win the 2020 Stanley Cup. So let's take a look at the top of the odds board for this thing. We have two teams that are favorite. The Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning tied at the top of the odds board at plus 650. Who's willing to make that bet on the Tampa Bay Lightning after that humiliating performance in the 2019 playoffs? I most certainly am not one of those people. They are followed by the Colorado Avalanche coming in at plus 700, the Philadelphia Flyers plus 800, the Vegas Golden Knights plus 800, who might be in trouble without that home ice advantage, the St. Louis Blues 12-1, the Pittsburgh Penguins 15-1, the Washington Capitals 15-1, the Dallas Stars 18-1, and the Nashville Predators 20-1. Okay, so let's discuss this format. A 24-team tournament qualification round going into playoffs. And you already have some people pissing and moaning, ooh, it's not fair. Listen, guys, we're desperate for sports. Beggars cannot be choosers. For all I care, put a couple teams from the Swedish Elite League in there. I do not care. You know, some people, though, complain about anything. Take those complaints and shove them. Okay, so 24-team tournament. What's interesting about this thing is, so the top four seeds from each conference are going to get a bye, if you want to call it that, into the playoffs. And I kind of think that those teams are going to be at a disadvantage. They're going to be going right into the playoffs on a 3.5 or 4 month break, and they are going to be cold, and they will be playing a team that's going into that series coming off some momentum, coming off a win in the qualification round. You know, the goalies are going to be in a rhythm, the lines are going to be set, and everyone will basically be in competitive form. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few upsets when we get to the first round of the actual playoffs. And I think this year is going to be wide open. You know, that is typically the NHL playoffs are always wide open. And isn't that the great thing? It's not always the best team on paper that ends up winning this thing. You know, there's countless examples of lower seeded teams making it to the finals and winning the Stanley Cup. And I think 2020 is going to be tailor-made for that. So with that said, I have a few underdogs, a few long shots that I think are worth making a little bit of a sprinkle coming into this tournament. So one from each conference, and what we're going to be looking at is recent form. I know it isn't that recent, but it still has to be considered. How they played out of their comfort zone. So on the road, these are going to be neutral site games. So how do you do without that home ice advantage? And of course, goaltending. So one bet that I like quite a bit, the New York Rangers coming in at 60-1 to win this thing. So here's what I like about the Rangers. They've been very good on the road this season. 19-12-3 on the road. They've also been very good since the calendar flipped to 2020. They have the 6th best record in the NHL in 2020. They will play the Carolina Hurricanes in the qualification round, and they dominated them this season, 3-0. They are plus 130 in that series, by the way. Pretty good bet, I must say. Now, the big wild card for the Rangers is who is going to be in net. We know that a hot goalie makes all the difference in the world in the playoffs. They can steal a game. They can steal a series. They can steal a couple of series. So I think the Rangers, they've got nothing to lose, and I think they got to go with the young kid who is the real deal. Of course, I am talking about Igor Shesterkin. He started 12 games for them. They've won 10 of them, and he's got a goals against average close to 2 on the road. So New York Rangers, 60-1. There's a lot worse things you could put a $20 bet on, including the Tampa Bay Lightning to win basically anything. Don't waste your money on Tampa Bay. Okay, let's move over to the Western Conference, and a team I have my eye on is the Calgary Flames, coming in at 50-1. So a few different things that I like about Calgary here. They've been great out of their comfort zone. 20 wins on the road this season. That is the second most in the Western Conference. They've also been pretty good in 2020, the 7th best record in the NHL since January 1. And they've got a guy in net, Cam Talbot, who I think this is a guy who could steal a couple of series for them. He's been great on the road, the 3rd best goals against average in the NHL on the road. Also 7-4 in the conference in 2020. So Calgary 50-1, the New York Rangers 60-1. Not bad long shot bets right there. But you know, who do you think I'm rooting for come playoff time? Who do we got back there lifting the cup? Kid Crosby, Manly Malkin. They are winners of 2 of the last 4 Stanley Cups. I got my bucket there. I'm gonna fill that with some ice and some cold beer. And but you know what? Am I a little biased? Well, probably. But you know what? Those are a couple spots I like for the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs. I am pumped up for this thing, and we're going to be all over it at OddsShark, so make sure you're checking out the NHL section at oddshark.com. Let me know if there's any sleepers you like. Let me know your overall pick to win the 2020 Cup, and we will see you next time in my basement. Woo!